Hi everyone, Matthew DeSantis here with NYRA Bets, here with the extended version of the Professor's Whiteboard going over the hopeful stakes. If you want to see me speak fast and furious, head on over to X and NYRA Bets where you can get my shortened clip discussing the whiteboard and the hopeful stakes. But let's dissect this race in a little bit more detail today and talk a little bit about starting with the pace scenario. Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? That's where we always start from a handicapping perspective, or at least I do. And I think it's going to be a warm pace. I don't know if it's going to be nuclear, but it's going to be a hot pace because there are some horses that really do have great early speed who are going to want to be up front in this contest. Now, here's the thing. 2-year-old maiden races, a lot of horses have only ever run once. They've only ever run one way, which is up on the lead. So you're going to get a bunch of horses that have never had to adjust their running style before, suddenly not being able to get to the lead the same way they did in debut. So there are some questions there. Now, the horse that is going to be the speed of the speed in this race is Mentee. This is the fastest horse in the race, no doubt about it. The horse set a track record at Aqueduct in debut, going 5 furlongs. Very fast. He is the full brother to Fierceness, the Travers Stakes winner, the Florida Derby winner, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner, 2-year-old champion. Very impressive horse. The full brother here in Mentee. The question, though, is the distance, because as impressive as that debut was in terms of final time and speed figure, he almost got nabbed at the wire by another horse, trained by George Weaver, Colloquial, who came from off the pace and almost got him. Now, I don't know if maybe jockey John Velasquez, just had him wrapped up. Maybe you thought the race was kind of over. Maybe the horse was shortening the strides a little bit. You saw some other horses kind of making up ground there. It's interesting, but I think there's questions because that was at 5 furlongs. Now we're stretching out to 7 furlongs in the hopeful. So I don't know what to expect from Mentee, other than I know he's going to be up front in this race. No doubt about that. He's obviously a lot of expectations, being the full brother to Fierceness, trained by Todd Pletcher, owned by Mike Rapoli, jockeyed by John Velasquez, the exact same connections. They're running it back with Mentee. Now, he's going to have some company up on the front end. A horse like Tough Catch for Dallas Stewart, won gate to wire in debut, going 5.5 furlongs up here at Saratoga. Now, what's fascinating about Tough Catch is he broke from the inside rail. So maybe his decision was forced a little bit. Inside rail, you got to send in debut, get out there on the front end. Maybe this horse can rate a little bit more. 8-1 in the morning line, I think actually provides some decent value there as a horse that I like that Dallas Stewart has. I think Dallas has got a couple of nice horses actually. Smoking Wicked, 15-1, isn't even a bad play either. So that's one that's going to press the pace. Another horse that's going to press the pace is your morning line favorite, Ferocious. Let's talk about this horse. The $1.3 million son of Flatter. He comes out of his maiden with the highest bias speed figure in the field. Won impressively in debut. And what was so impressive was he didn't break particularly well. He was on the inside rail, hopped a little bit, and was just naturally able to get up there into a tracking position, was able to track down Lone Speed and El Prestigio, and then just pulled away from the field in the stretch. Now, there's a lot of similarities between he and Fierceness as well. That's kind of what's interesting is we got the full brother of Fierceness, but Ferocious and Fierceness share a lot of commonalities, not least of which is their names, obviously. But with Fierceness, they ran almost the exact same final time in debut up here at Saratoga. They ran the same distance. They ran over the same type of track. 6 furlongs, muddy sealed track. They ran within 1 buyer speed figure point of each other, and they ran almost the exact same final time. Fierceness, 109.56. Ferocious, 109.65. Ferocious has that 96 buyer speed figure, but one of the things you always have to keep in mind is when these 2-year-olds are really cranked up, do they regress a little bit second start off out of the gate? And that is a legitimate question there because we certainly saw that with Fierceness. Second start in the Champagne, going a mile over a sloppy track. Guess what? Regressed. Okay. Now, conditions are going to be perfect on Monday for Ferocious in the hopeful. 7 furlongs should not be a distance too far at all. This horse is bred for 2 turns, and this horse has a stride that makes you think he's going to appreciate every single bit of that distance. Does have a jockey change with Irad Ortiz Jr. Not a bad jockey change in terms of picking up the meets leading rider there for the ride. So definitely high on this horse. Really think he's impressive. Let's talk about another horse that was very impressive in debut, which is Chancer McPatrick. He's not an Irish horse, but it's a great Irish name. He's sired by McKenzie, hence the McPatrick. But he's an interesting horse because, man, he closed from the clouds in debut. There was a lot of hype around him coming into that race. And, turning for home, quite frankly, I didn't think there was any chance he was going to get there. But he managed to mow the field down, get there at the wire, showed a little bit of immaturity, kind of switching leads late. And that's a little bit of an interesting dynamic to see as well. As talented as he is, he only earned an 81 buyer speed figure. We saw a little bit of a mixed bag of horses coming back from that race. Some ran better, some ran worse. So how good was that level of competition? I'll tell you this, he cannot pull the same song second verse on Monday. He can't do it. If you try to close on this field, if you try to just sweep by everybody, that ain't going to work. All right. This is too talented of a group for him to do that. He's got to get away better. Trainer Chad Brown even said he's probably more of a mid-pack horse. He's probably going to try to take that type of trip instead of closing from all the way in the clouds. But no doubt, once he revs up, he's a serious horse, should appreciate the added distance of 7 furlongs. So listen, he's at 5-2 on the morning line. I don't love that price, especially for his running style. Now, why do I bring that up? Track stats. You might have heard it. We have it on NYRA Bets. And one of the things I look at track stats is winning trip analysis by distance and surface. Dirt sprints over this entire Saratoga meet. 38% of winners in dirt sprints gate to wire. 52% have been tracking from within 3 lengths of the pace at the 3/8 or half-mile mark. Only 9% of horses have closed from more than 3 lengths back at the half-mile or the 3/8 mile mark. So you really need to be close to the lead to have a chance going one turn on the dirt here at Saratoga. As a result, Ferocious certainly looks very, very difficult to get past in this spot. I trust him getting the distance far more than Mentee and even more than a horse like Tough Catch, who I like, but was kind of shortening up a little bit at the end of that maiden victory, going 5.5 furlongs, now obviously going a little bit longer. So there are some questions there. Where do I go for value? I really do like Studley Do Right quite a bit. Now, I say that after just telling you about the track stats. This is a horse that comes from off the pace, but looked really good doing it in the Tremont. Came from the clouds in that race, was 11 lengths back and closed to win 2 starts back right up here at Saratoga during Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. That was impressive because so few horses were doing that during that weekend. Studley Do Right, he's a Maryland bred, trained by John Robb. Anybody who knows that circuit well respects the work John Robb does. He's got a great barn down there in the Mid-Atlantic. This is a really, really good horse. 12-1 on the morning line. I love that price. And here's my logic. If you like Chancer McPatrick, here's a horse that's 5.5 times better value than Chancer McPatrick that has a very similar running style and has been proven to be able to run and track down people over this track. Finished second last time out in the Sanford, grade 3. But listen, lost to a horse like Moplex, who came back to win a stakes race next time out. So very good competition there. Incentive pay, another interesting horse for Chad Brown, breaking on the far outside, has more of a tracking style. I actually think that's quite advantageous on the far outside. So there's a lot of things to like here when you're looking at the hopeful stakes. And I'm really excited for this particular rendition of the race. Now, when you talk about where am I ultimately going to go as my top pick, well, listen, I'm going to go to Ferocious as my top selection. That's where I'm going to go. But I'm going to combine Ferocious and Studley Do Right. That's where I'm going to go for my exacta, because if I can combine 8-5 with 12-1, hey, we're going to make a little bit of money, hopefully, in the hopeful stakes. Listen, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe here on NYRA Bets. School time is almost starting. The woman who serves me food down at the Trackside Grill, she's starting her kindergarten class teaching later this week. So listen, kids, stay in school, listen to the professor, and remember, play on NYRA Bets.